Frank.
Yo, Zach, how's it going?
Frank, what the fuck is going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just kind of relaxing.
Hell yeah. Dude, we just got done blasting Eternal Fire, man. That fucking track is so fucking badass, dude.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty proud of that one for sure.
Hell yeah,
Great
man.
song.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking, man, the vocals on that thing, dude.
I know. Tim did such an amazing job on that. And yeah, it's such an honor to work with him and everybody else on the EP as well.
Yeah. Dude, you have an insane lineup on this EP, man. Can you tell us a little bit about like a brief history about the band and how this whole thing came together and how you ended up with what you got now?
Well, Beltfed's kind of been around for quite a long time with little hiatuses in between. It actually started in like 99, and I did started with a 3-song demo. And then ended up adding another song, Howitzer, made it a 4-song demo, and then did 2 more songs. So it ended up becoming a 3-song, 4-song, then a 6-song demo, and I left it at 6. So a lot of different various musicians on that one as well. And then in 2009, I came out with Peacekeeper, and that was a great album too, and it was a fun experience working with that. And shortly after that, the lineup kind of dismantled. A couple guys weren't interested in moving forward with the tour that was presented, and so it just kind of fell apart. And, you know, throughout the years, a lot of people just kind of came in and helped me out, and it was really hard to find people to commit. Really wanted to like be a part of the band. So a lot of friends and people I knew would, you know, help me out doing live shows and this and that. But and I'm very thankful for that. But I just kind of always wanted a little bit more. And after, you know, the breakup of Peacekeeper lineup, I ended up coming back in 2014. I started thinking about, well, you know, if I'm going to go the route of just having people help me out, well, maybe I'll just reach out to some people that I've met through the industry when I was doing the promoting thing with the Northwest Death Fest and the Seattle Metal Fest. So I reached out to this drummer I found in Sweden. His name was Frederick Wittigs, and his drumming was amazing. And I asked him if he'd be interested, and he said, "Yeah, I'd be down." And so I gave him a little test run. I said, "Oh, here's the scratch tracks to the song Raining Plague. Let's just see how it goes." So he threw down some scratch tracks, and it was just awesome. So I'm like, "Dude, yeah, you're in if you want to do it." And he laid down the drums for that. And shortly after he did that, he ended up joining Marduk, which was pretty cool.
Hell yeah. And
then I reached out to Steve DiGiorgio. He's been one of my favorite bass players of all time. And
love Steve, man.
Yeah, I thought, man, that'd be really cool to work with him. You never know what someone's going to say when you hit him up. So I hit him up, and he actually responded, and he's like, "Yeah, man, go ahead and send me the scratch tracks, whatever, demos, whatever you got. You know, I can tell what you got going on." And I was like, "Oh, man, that's cool," you know. So I sent him the, 3 songs that I had, and I didn't hear back from him for a couple weeks. I was like, "Yeah, he probably thinks it sucks or whatever." But I got an email from him. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'd be down to help you out on this, and sure, when you need it done by." And we kind of worked that out. And yeah, so we ended up playing the bass for that. And one of the best compliments I ever had was after he recorded the 5 songs, he goes, "Man, you deserve pain for writing Mind Rape." I was just like, "Man, you just made my day, dude." So yeah, it was pretty cool. And then Dean Sturberg. He played in a friend of mine's band, Pure Sweet Hell, Van Williams from Nevermore, the drummer. He's a good buddy of mine. And I said, "Hey, man, who's that singer you had on that CD of yours?" And he's like, "Oh, my buddy Dean." So he made the introduction to that. And Dean heard the material. He's like, "Yeah, I'd be down to sing on this." So that's how Rainy Play came about. And then my good buddy of mine that builds my guitars, Andy Beach from DeHatry Guitars, custom guitar builder. He did the solos on that, and then him and Jeff Loomis shared a solo on the song Darkness Falls. We kind of met up together and ended up kind of let them do a dual solo thing. So that was really cool. And after that, we ended up doing a little tour in 2017. Did a little mini tour. We did 2 shows with Ghost Ship Octavius. which is another band that Van Williams was in with Matt Wickland. Oh, Matt Wickland also did a guest solo on Raining Plague as well. On Darkest Falls, he did like the end solo, if I remember correctly. And so we did 2 shows with Ghost Ship, Octavius, and then one with Morbid Angel. And that was just an amazing time. That's the last time Beltfed's played live. Then after that, I did a single with Ronnie Monroe, POW, to help his situation that he was dealing with at the time with his wife that was battling cancer. And, I wanted to help out. I said, hey, man, let's put a song out and see if we can, help raise some money for, to help your situation out, which is a really cool cause. A lot of people supported it, which is really cool. And then after that, started working on some new material, and that's how Darkened Demise came about. And as I got the material together, it started out with, basically I had 4 songs, and I hired a drummer from Sweden, a different guy I just found online, and I was really impressed with his drumming he did on one particular band that he was involved with. I thought, man, this guy's really creative. So I thought, hey, man, maybe I'll have this guy. Because Frederick's not available anymore. He doesn't really play anymore. He kind of retired from playing music. He's such an amazing drummer, too, that guy. What a beast. But, so the guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but anyways, he recorded to my scratch tracks, and the drum parts were really good, but the arrangement was just kind of odd, and it was killer, but then it sucked. And I was just like, well, maybe it'll all kind of flow once it all starts coming together. So I went in August of 2020 and did my guitar tracks with Aaron Smith in Seattle at his studio. And some time went by. And Craig ended up doing the solos, and Jeff. And I think around August or September of 21, Jason was going to do the bass. And he started digging into the songs. He's like, man, this drumming, I just don't vibe with this drummer. And I'm just like, yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. And he goes, I got to play wrong to make it sound right. And I'm like, well, that's not good. And I'm just like, well, shit. So what am I going to do? I said, well, these songs, I felt these songs were too good to have anything half-assed about it. So I reached out to a friend of mine, Tim Roth from Into Eternity, the guitar player, and because I love that band, and the drummer was always, every drummer they've had is just amazing. I said, hey man, do you think your drummer would be interested in some session work? He's like, yeah man, I'll pass your info along and see what he says. And his name's Brian Newberry. And so he heard the material. He's like, man, this is really good. I'd love to be involved with this. And I said, yeah, just ignore what the old drummer did. You have full freedom to do your thing and take it from there. And man, he did an amazing job. He really took the time to structure out every single beat in every single song and gave the songs justice. And then to send it back to Jason, he's like, oh, dude, much better. He's like, now we're ready to go. I said, all right. So Jason did his parts on the 4 songs. Or actually, Jason played on 3. There was a song, Head First Into Hell, that was co-written from a friend of mine in Seattle, Dagda Celestia. We co-wrote the song kind of for a side project in like 2018, but it just never really happened. So I thought, man, this is a cool song just to have on the EP. So she ended up doing the bass on that. And so everything was about done. And what happened was I was off work for a little bit of time, and I just started jamming out, and I came up with a couple of new riffs. I thought, oh, this would be a good song. And I just started putting the riffs together, and I wrote this song, Accept Your Insanity, in like 5 days. And I was just like, man, I got to add this to the EP. So that delayed things a little longer, of course. And then Jason was too busy to do the bass on it. So I was just like, okay, well, shit, who else could I get, And I actually talked to Steve, and he loved the song and wanted to do it, but he just didn't have the time. He was really busy with getting stuff going with Testament and everything. So he's like, man, sorry, I can't do it, but and otherwise I'd totally be down if I had the time. He actually was really interested, which is really cool. So I reached out to JD from Black Label Society. I met him through my friend Andy Beach, the guy that played on Raining Plague solos. And he made that introduction, and JD was like, wow, this is a really cool tune. And he goes, yeah, it's a little different style than what I'm used to playing, but yeah, I'd be down. And so he ended up doing the bass on that. And then unfortunately, Dean Sternberg was going to sing on the album, but when I started trying to get the vocals ready, he was having some health issues, so he wasn't really in a position to do it. So that's when I reached out to Tim Amir, and Tim Amir was totally on board. When I hit him up, I thought, man, that'd be really cool to see if he'd want to do some vocals for me, and I hit him up, and he was like, man, this is really cool. I'd love to be a part of this. And then Jason Vibrooks, he's been a good friend for a long time, and he's done a lot for me and Beltfed. He's like, hey, I could see if Steve Tucker would be interested in singing on, a couple songs if you want. I'm like, gee, that'd be awesome. And he sent Steve the material, and then Steve and I started talking, and he was totally interested in doing it. So that's how that whole thing came about. And then, we just finally got everything finalized like 3 months ago. And then, the duplication, CDs are off to duplication right now. And they got some new T-shirts coming. It's going to take a couple months to get all that together. And the release date's June 25th. So after almost 3 years of putting this together, it was a lot of work and a lot of patience. But when you have 5 songs with 8 different musicians other than myself, there's a lot involved with people's schedule, because all these guys are busy with their current bands that they're in. So, I was totally willing to work around their schedules, because I knew that it would be really good. And every single person involved took the time to work out their parts. Nobody just slapped their parts on and said, yeah, here you go. Everybody just put 100% into doing what they do, and the chemistry was amazing. And I couldn't be happier. The only thing that I would want to change of this EP is if I could double it and make it a full length.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well, I mean, that is a hell of a lineup too. I mean, like you've got people from you got people from Morbid Angel, Control Denied, Arch Enemy, Exodus, X Order, Black Label Society, Into Eternity. Like,
I know.
Jesus, man. I mean,
it's like a dream come true. It's like, how did I pull this off? And it's just, a lot of these people are my good friends, and they like what I do, and they've seen me do it for so many years. And this is why I've kept moving forward, because I've always believed in my music. And, it's not an easy road. It's easy just to get your hopes up for something, and then it doesn't go through. And then, you get a little bit broke because you put all your money into it, and then you have to kind of regroup. And, I knew if I keep going, eventually things would fall into place. And, I don't expect anything big to happen with this. I don't do it with expectations anymore. I just do it for fun and enjoy really making great music with great musicians and great people. And that's what it's all about now.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I mean, and you were speaking about like the networking from doing those festivals and stuff is sort of what made a lot of these connections. Can you go and tell us a little bit more about that? Because that's really cool how the way that works, man. I mean, the power of networking is so fucking important. I think for a lot of people need to know about that.
Yeah, it is. And doing shows of that caliber, like the first show I did was in 2002. It was a Seattle Metal Fest at this little bar and grill, and I know all the local bands at the time. A lot of them aren't really together anymore. But I thought, man, it'd be cool to put together a little show. So I found 7 bands. I asked them, hey, you guys want to play a show? And it's this little bar and grill called Goldie's. They didn't even have a stage, so I ended up bringing a sound system, found a sound guy, and he brought in this whole system. And I put these 7 bands together and made festival T-shirts, and then did these compilation CDs. And it went off really good. I had like 300 people in this little bar. The bar owner loved me, but it was pretty crazy. And then the next year, I had somebody that wanted to invest and see if we could step it up. And so 2003, I did a 2-day metal fest with, oh my God, Nevermore, Dragon Lord, Severed Savior, and God, who else? Death Angel, Strapping Unlad. They were supposed to play, but they ended up canceling. And Dreams of Damnation, Exhumed.
Hell yeah.
And so one day was kind of more death metal, one day was more thrash metal. But and then after doing that, I started doing regular shows I did some tribute band shows and a lot of local band shows. And then, over the course of doing that, I met a lot of people. And, a lot of the bigger bands that I booked, I'd of course get to meet them, and I'd always get a vinyl signed by them, to add to my collection. So, yeah, it's really cool meeting all these people through that process. A lot of great experiences. Unfortunately, after time, it just got to a point where I just lost so much money. My investors were just like, dude, I can't keep doing this. This is just a big loss. I'm like, I get it. I even went the route of having bands pay to play. I would break down the slots. I'd start the shows at 10 in the morning or 11 in the morning, and they'd run all the way till 1 in the morning. And I'd kind of start breaking down the slots. Okay, first slot would be $300, whatever. And I'd offer this big promotional package. I would do compilation CDs and festival T-shirts. Every band would get a shirt. Every band member would get a shirt, and every band would get 10 CDs or whatever to do whatever they wanted with. So it's really cool to meet so many cool people and have such a great experience. Unfortunately, the financial aspect of it was just not working out. Even after making the bands pay to play, one show I did with Sadist, Cannibal Corpse, and Incantation, after everything was all said and done, I made like $300. I was like, man, that's cool. Yeah. I made $300, man. I actually made some money. So it was just a lot of work, and it just kind of took its toll on me. So, and one thing I've learned, that promoting a festival or bands, that was one thing, but now that I've been focusing more on promoting my band, that's a whole different ballgame where you're just promoting your own project. And so I'm still learning as we speak. I've made a couple mistakes along the way here of promoting the new album, but those were learning curves. But yeah, it's a great experience, and being able to make these contacts, and like with Steve DiGiorgio, that's how I met him, was when I booked Sadist twice. Actually, they played 2 of my Death Fest. The other one was with Obituary headlining, and then Sadist and I think Severed Savior. They were a Unique Leader Records band. So, that's why I thought, hey, it never hurts just to ask somebody he knows who I am. And I said, hey, man, I got these songs you want to play on it. You never know what someone's going to say when you hit them up. They're either going to like it and say, yeah, I'd be down, or no, that's cool, or not respond, or whatever. You just never know until you ask.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You're definitely right about that. Like, you never know until you ask, man. You're not going to know. And sometimes people will be cool, and it'll work out, and you never know, man. But it definitely seems like the stars aligned on this, because I mean, and the whole record too. I've been listening to the whole EP. The whole thing sounds fluent from start to finish. It doesn't really sound like when you're listening to it, it doesn't sound like a whole bunch of different people doing different things. If you don't know that there's so many different people involved, it kind of just sounds like a band,
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, and the cool thing is I was able to vision what would this person sound like to this song or playing with my music, and it always turns out better than what I vision in my head. So we're pretty proud of that. And even with artwork too, the guy that did the artwork, Sid Jimby Art, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's from Indonesia, and I just give him the concepts of what I wanted to have the song about, and just told him what I was visioning in my head, and he was able to just recreate what was in my head on paper in his own vision, and it was just amazing. And same with the lyric video guy. The first lyric video, Head First into Hell, that came out, the guy that made the video, and Drea's art, he did the artwork himself for that. He has kind of a different style than the other guy. I thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to have something a little different in there. And yeah, these guys just do an amazing job, and they're really good on communicating. And it's just been a good experience from beginning to end. And now I'm like 3 weeks away, a little over 3 weeks away from the release date, and I'm just finally excited to have it come out. And yeah, it's been a lot of work, and I'm very proud of. This is definitely the best work that I've been able to put together, and I couldn't have done it without the people involved. I mean, I wrote the music and arranged all the music and everything, but without what the elements that they've added, it wouldn't sound what it is. So it's a big, huge thanks to them. And the solo, the highlight of the album is the solo on "Accept Your Insanity." That is epic. Jeff did an amazing job on that solo. And he put a lot of time into it and a lot of love into it. And it shows when that song's out and people hear it. I'm sure you've probably already heard it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty amazing. A minute long solo. He's like, damn, dude, you got a minute long era. I gotta make a story out of this. I'm like, yeah, it is kind of long, but it seems to flow. He's like, yeah, man, I'm down for it. Yeah, so yeah, huge thanks to him. And he's done a lot with Beltfed. You know, he's played solos on, I think, on every recording I've done, or the demo. He did a couple songs. Actually, the last 2 songs on the demo he recorded solos and programmed the drums on that. Then he did a shared solo on Peacekeeper, and then he did a shared solo on Rainy Plague, and then shared solos on 2 songs on the new one with it was Killing Machine and Eternal Fire. Jeff and Craig had shared solos on those 2, and then Jeff did his own on Accept Your Insanity. And I couldn't be happier with everything that's on the new record. And I think, you know, when the other 2 new songs come out, people are really going to like it. I've kind of saved the best for last. Not that anything's bad on the album, but the order that I've released the songs is the order that I feel, you know, should have went, versus a lot of people might put out the best song first. Well, I kind of did it the opposite, in my opinion. I thought it was just a cool way to do it.
Man, that's really cool. You know, that's cool that about the artwork too, that you mentioned Indonesia, getting somebody down there to do it, because we've got a guy in Indonesia that does all the artwork for the Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest. And like you said, like you just give them the idea, tell them a little bit about what you want, and then like boom, the next day coming up with all kinds of stuff. And it's super fast, super cool. I don't know what it is, like what they're eating or drinking down there, but they're making some shit happen, man. It's cool.
Yeah. And how I was introduced to these guys was there's a local band here. I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of the name of it, but my friend Eric Johnson, he used to play in Beltfed Weapon a long time ago. He did some shows with us way back in the day, and he was showing me this local artist. His name's Caleb. I forget his last name. Cryptic Mortality, I want to say, is one of his projects. But he was showing me the artwork that this guy has done. I'm like, holy shit, that artwork is sick. And so I hit the guy up and said, hey, who does your artwork? And so he turned me on to the guy over in Indonesia. And I guess there's a lot of different people that do that artwork over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had quite a list to choose from. I just picked one. I said, man, I really like your style. Would you be interested in doing some art for it? And I thought it would be cool to do artwork for each song, you know, as I'm releasing each one with a single and a lyric video, and something a little different. And it's cool because the CD, I have a 16-page booklet in there, and there's artwork for each of the song next to the lyrics.
Nice.
In the EP layout too. I know a lot of people don't buy CDs these days, but you know, with all the free streaming and everything going on, and that's cool. And I encourage everybody, you know, if you don't want to, if money's tight, you can go to Bandcamp or YouTube or Spotify or any of those outlets and listen to the music for free. But if anybody does want to support this project, more than appreciative of it. And you can pre-order the CD on the website, beltfedweapon.net. I have lots of other cool merch on there too. I have quite a little merch store going there.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And
I was checking out your merch store, as a matter of fact, and I mean, dude, yeah, like there's still a lot of people out there like us that buy. I mean, I buy tapes, CDs, records, everything, man. I don't care. Like, you know, it's just
me too.
It's cool to have stuff to throw on the fucking shelf. I mean, you know, I'll admit most of the time I do listen to the digital versions of it, but every now and then it's just cool to have that piece of. It's like a piece of history, man. You know, like I don't know.
Absolutely.
You were talking earlier about your record collection, man. Like So are you like a big time collector?
Yeah, I'm into collecting vinyl a lot. I have a lot of CDs too. I still buy some CDs, but I like to buy vinyl now. So I got a pretty good collection going to vinyl and festival T-shirts. When I used to book the shows, a lot of bands would give me a T-shirt, comp me a shirt, and shows that I went to and bought merch. I mean, I got like 4 big tubs of merch, that I've bought and had given to me over the years, and guitar picks and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I'm a collector, and yeah, it's cool to have the physical copy. But what's cool about the digital streaming is when you're in your car, you can just go around your phone and Spotify and jam out to whatever album you want. It's right there on your phone. You don't have to, shuffle through CDs and whatnot. So it's cool for that. But at home, I love listening to vinyl, and it's cool to have the artwork. You open up the album, you see all the artwork and the lyrics and everything. And I wish I could have done vinyl with Darkened Demise. I was looking into it, but doing a short run of vinyl was very expensive. It just wouldn't have been cost effective to do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but man, maybe one day as I get enough fans and followers that are buying the albums or whatever, maybe down the road on the next release I could do vinyl or something. But yeah, unless you do like 1,000 copies or 500 copies of vinyl, that's the only way to get the price break.
Right. What's one of your prized possessions in your collection, man? What's one of the?
Oh God, I have so many. Well, I have a cool marble vinyl of Control Denied, Fragile Art of Existence. That's one of my favorites. And Black Sabbath, or it's actually, I guess it's titled Heaven and Hell. It's the last Sabbath album that Ronnie James Dio sang on. That's one of my favorites. But probably my favorites is my Iron Maiden collection. I've got the 2 box sets that they put out with the earlier stuff where you buy the box set, but it only comes out with like the two albums, and then you got to fill in the rest. Yeah, so I have both those, the earlier years and the later years. Those are probably my favorite. Then all the picture discs. I got quite a few Iron Maiden picture discs, and yeah, to have the whole Iron Maiden catalog on vinyl and all the stuff they did, the box sets. That'll take me till I'm about 70. But hey,
it's crazy like how some of those old records stand the test of time too. I've got some old vinyl records of like original presses of like Led Zeppelin and Sabbath, like going way back, man, before I was even born, and Pink Floyd and shit, and like that stuff. It still sounds, I mean, just pristine. I mean, yeah, there's cracks and pops and stuff, but I think that's actually adds to the cool factor of it. But like,
absolutely,
the actual when you listen to it, when you listen to it like that on a good stereo and you turn it up and you just sit there in between the speakers, you really do kind of feel like you're in the room with the band, like watching them play, because it sounds so. I don't know. It's just I guess with CDs and digital and stuff, there is some compression and going on, and it can take a little bit of the dynamics away. I mean, it's not that noticeable, but when you really do pay attention, like it's there,
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. There's a new vinyl I just saw been advertised. Black Sabbath Live Evil has just been reissued, remastered on vinyl. That's definitely next on the list. I got to get that.
Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, yeah, I love collecting. It's cool, but you got to watch yourself because it can get out of control real quick. You go on eBay or whatever, start buying vinyls. It's like, man, because vinyl's not cheap. It's especially some of the Maiden vinyls. They're pretty expensive. But
yeah. Now it's expensive, but like, fuck, man, like 15 years ago or so, you could go into a record store and find all kinds of used copies for like $3, $4, like, because nobody cared about them back then, But
yeah.
Now that it's become a big thing again, like they're just jacking them up, It's like, fuck, man.
I remember one time I went into a pawn shop and I found the first 3 Dio records: Sacred Heart, Last in Line, Holy Diver, and Ozzy Bark at the Moon and Ultimate Sin, $2 each. Yeah. I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. And they were in great shape, yeah. So I've had those for many years, but I just actually not too long ago, a couple years ago, I sold all my cassettes. I kind of regret doing that, but yeah, I noticed that they're making a comeback now. It's kind of odd. I don't understand that. It's like I could see vinyl, but I don't understand why people are into cassettes these days. Because you notice a lot of new releases, like Metal Church's new album, Overkill's new album, and some of these other bands. Yeah, you can see it available on cassette. I'm like, well, that's interesting. People are actually buying cassettes again. That's I don't understand it, but yeah.
I think it's just the nostalgia, the factor of it. I mean, and it's, I guess again, it's just a matter of being able to have something physical to put with your, with your collection that like, I mean, yeah, I got a bunch of cassettes, man. And I do have a tape player, and I listen to them every now and then, but not that much. Like it's usually just grab them just to have them, just to. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy, man.
I think it's cool though, but yeah, it's cool to see him kind of making a comeback. And I know that a lot of people love to collect their favorite records. I mean, I'm one of them, and people are into the cassettes again. That's cool. I'm sure some people have to go buy a cassette player again because, like, I don't own a cassette player. I don't have one in my car. I have a CD player, and at home. But yeah, but I think it's cool that it's coming back in that format too.
Yeah, hell yeah, man! I found one in Goodwill for like $6, man. I fucking picked it up. One of those double dick fucking things.
One cassette I did actually keep though. I kept the Garage Days, Metallica Garage Days. I had that on cassette from way back in the day. I kept that. I actually found that on vinyl a couple years back, the original pressing. Those are hard to find, pretty rare, and pretty expensive too. So yeah, it's cool. I love collecting stuff. It's like pretty soon I'm going to need a bigger house. The way things are going, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. But back to Beltfed. I just recorded 2 new songs too. I structured out 2 new tunes that would have fit so good to the EP, and just tracked the last one, the second one last weekend. And Accept Your Insanity is probably one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. And then now I just put together a new one. There's no title yet. It's just fresh, all in the making. But man, it's a banger. I think it's very fast and very death metal-ish. It's kind of like Morbid Angel meets Black Sabbath meets Exodus, kind of a vibe.
Nice.
And yeah, I like to cram different styles into my music because I love so many different styles of metal, and like Darkened Demise EP is a prime example of that. There's a lot of different elements. There's songs on there that some people will like, and be like, well, I don't really like that song or that other song, and then vice versa, because you got the clean vocals and the death metal vocals. But I love both styles. So fortunately, Dean wasn't able to sing on it, and he does both styles. But I had to go with 2 different singers to complete that. But man, I couldn't be happier with it, and I can't wait to release the new material too. So everything's kind of going off to the other guys. Brian will end up doing his drums. It'll probably take him 2-3 months to get his drums done for those. And then Jason, I asked Jason and Cragen to play again, and they were totally down. So they're going to do their parts on that, and then vocals will be last. I'll probably release the first single in early 2024, and then the second one will come out in midsummer 2024.
Oh yeah, man.
This way, sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying this way I can keep some momentum going, because in the past it's like I put out an album, put everything into it, and then we do a little tour or whatever, and then all of a sudden, I wouldn't do anything for 3 or 4 years. So like it's been 8 years since Reigning Plague, so that's quite a long time.
Yeah.
I want to be able to keep improving as a guitar player and as a songwriter, and to be able to put out music to fill in the gaps and not having to wait so long to keep putting out new music. So it's going to be probably singles for a while. One day I want to get to the point where I have the time to sit down and write a full-length record, like 10 songs. And that's my goal. That might take a little bit of time, but hopefully within the next 5 years I can end up creating a full-length. I work a lot, and I work extensive hours, so I don't have a lot of time for writing. I usually wait till I have my breaks in between jobs, and then I'll sit down and write. But if I can get a good break at one point in the next couple of years, I think I'll just hammer out 12 songs, pick the best two, and have a couple singles to keep people going in the meantime, and then put out a full length. That would be really cool to do one day.
Man, speaking of all the different styles and stuff, I wanted to ask you, like, as far as your playing is concerned, what was some of your influences growing up? Like, what got you into this kind of music and everything?
Well, the first band that did it for me, the first album that did it for me, I was probably 11 or 12, was AC/DC, For Those About to Rock.
Hell yeah.
I heard that. I was just like, man, that's fucking killer. The song Spellbound, that's one of my favorite songs. And then as I grew older, I got turned on to heavier music like Metal Church and Exodus and Creator. And before that, it was like Iron Maiden and Ozzy and Dio, Black Sabbath, and Quiet Riot. I was into them, and Motley Crue back in the day. And then got into the thrash metal, and then got into the death metal. Got introduced to that. And when I first heard death metal, I was just like, I don't know, man. It's pretty extreme, but it grew on me. And bands like Morbid Angel and Deicide. The guitar work of Deicide is amazing. And that's one thing I love about that band. Their music is intense. I love the drumming, and the guitar riffs are just so aggressive and powerful. And and then of course I always loved Iron Maiden and Dio and those styles of vocals. And Into Eternity was another band I got turned on to, and Iced Earth. Iced Earth and Into Eternity actually are the two bands that made me want to go the direction of having some clean vocals. And when I did Raining Plague, and the funny thing is when I did Raining Plague, I only wanted some cleans on one song, the title track, Raining Plague. And Dean was like, man, I'm hearing cleans all over this album. I was just like, well, yeah, I'm not really kind of wanting to do that, but then again, it's like, you never know. I want to hear what you got. So he gave me some ideas, what he was thinking. I was like, man, this could totally work. I really liked what he did. And, when you have someone who's a good musician, don't hold them back from letting them do what they vision in their head. You never know. It could work. Or it can't. But you never know until you hear it. Mm-hmm. So after hearing what he did, I was just like, yeah, I'm totally down to do this. So that's how that style got incorporated into Beltfed. And I think it's cool. I pushed the envelope with the concepts. The core of Beltfed's, more about the theme of war and battle. But taking some different concepts, I thought, hey, why not push the envelope a little bit and do something different? And it seems to be working. And, Eternal Fire for Existence, that's a completely different concept. And Head First into Hell and Accept Your Insanity is totally different themes outside of the war. But it works and it fits. And, it's just cool to be different and not to do the same song every time. That's hard to do for me, is to not rip myself off when I'm writing new music.
Man, speaking of different, looking at your merch store, man, your T-shirts and stuff, you have some cool T-shirts. But, I was laughing because I was thinking, man, these kind of look like construction worker T-shirts, man. You got,
yeah.
And that's badass, though.
That's exactly what they are, because I was on a job in Seattle, a long job. We did a high-rise. And I thought, man, what if I just make some orange T-shirts with the Beltfed logo and put this saying on the back, don't tell me how to do my fucking job, because there's always some, once in a while you get this asshole foreman breathing down your neck, nitpicking you. And so I thought, man, it'd be cool. Let's just see what happens. So I made a little batch of shirts, and I decided to sell them for what it cost me. It was like $6 a piece, and everybody started buying them. Like, the demand was huge. And so I said, well, shit. Somebody said, well, you should make some hoodies too. I said, okay, well, I'll make some hoodies. And I literally had I probably sold 150 hoodies just on that job alone. So everybody would be walking around wearing these hoodies, and it was just the coolest thing. And yeah, it kind of took off a little bit. Same with Alaska. I was up in Alaska working earlier this year and last year, and people loved the hoodies, and people weren't really biting them at first. All of a sudden, one person was like, man, I'll buy one of them hoodies. And then he bought one and was wearing it around the job. Next thing you know, I had 25 people. It was like, hey, man, dude, I want to get one of those. I was like, all right. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'd say I probably sold a total of 400 hoodies since I started making them in 2015.
That's badass, dude.
Of just the orange ones, but because that's what I do for a living. And, a lot of people on the jobs, they don't even have to like the music to like the hoodie.
Yeah, or they just want to support.
Yeah, they want to support, and it's really cool. A lot of people appreciate what I do and think it's pretty cool. And even my bosses, they bought a hoodie and they're like, man, that's really cool what you do. And I'm not really into your style of music. And they're like, man, you should try to write a ballad or something. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe one day I might throw something there, but it's not what I'm about. I write what I like to write, and it's not for everybody, but it's cool. But yeah, it's cool to see people support it, and a lot of people have been supporting the new stuff too. I've been getting a lot of streams, like the YouTube lyric video for Eternal Fire is the best I've done with anything yet. I'm already up to like almost 2,400 views on it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
The one we got on Decibel.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was fucking. It's been going through the roof, dude. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, so I've had some really good comments. People have said, some pretty extreme comments. I'm like, wow. Some people said. One guy said, "Man, this could be, the second track on Painkiller, Judas Priest Painkiller." I'm like, well, that's quite a compliment, but yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'll take that.
It's a good track, dude. It really is, man. That's cool that people are appreciating it and seeing it for what it is, man. Definitely.
Yeah. It feels really good. I really wish Tim was still here to witness the release of this. It's really sucks he passed away. A very sad day when that happened. It was on Valentine's Day, and I saw it online. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I've dedicated the album in memory of him. And Eternal Fire is his swan song. That's the last song he ever recorded before he passed away. And, if I have anything to do with help keeping his legacy, alive, I'm very honored to do that. And he was such a great guy to work with. I got along with him. We had a few good conversations, and we connected in a lot of ways. And he was just really fun to work with. And he had an interesting style of how he wrote his melodies. He would write his melodies out on a trumpet. Like I sent him the music, and he would work out the vocal melodies on a trumpet, and there were major keys in it. And I was like, wow, that sounds really weird. First time I got it, I was like, that kind of sounds like Sabotage, with what he had going on, which was cool. But I was like, okay, I can vision what he's doing here. I'm just going to let him do his thing. And I did question him on the major keys. I said, you got some major keys going on your trumpet there. He goes, oh, yeah, that'll change. It'll all be minor. That's just how I work everything out. And he said that he learned that from Chuck Shoulder on how to write like that, to work out vocals. And then he just wrote the lyrics and fit the words into the melody that he created. And man, he did such an amazing job.
Wow.
And it was a really cool process of watching him do that. And at first it would sound really weird. I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. But then, it's like, hey, you don't know until it's done.
Yeah. Method to the madness.
That's just how he does it. And Control Denied is one of my all-time favorite albums. And it really sucks that Chuck passed away too. And Tim and Chuck are probably hanging out right now, and maybe making some music where they're at. But it's sad that he's gone, and I wish he was here. I know he'd be proud for sure, and I know a lot of people are liking what he did to the Beltfed, and they love what he did to his other bands, Pharaoh, and this last band he was in, Helios. Those guys are really good too. I got that CD in my truck, and I've been listening to that quite a bit. And man, he's such a great songwriter, lyricist, and singer. It was too bad that he's not here with us anymore. I would love to have done more work with him. So.
Oh yeah, man. Well, rest in peace.
Exactly.
For all the people out there listening, man, where can they go to purchase some music from you, merch, or anything like that? Where's the best place for them to go?
The website would be probably the best place, beltfedweapon.net. is I got a pretty good merch store, like we were talking about, and Bandcamp. You can purchase stuff through Bandcamp too. So yeah, anybody that wants to support this project, it just goes into the fund to help me create more music. It's not cheap to do, but it's very rewarding to see the end product and people appreciating what I do. And I definitely plan on keep doing more. So got to keep going now. It's like, how could I stop after this? But unfortunately, I can't just sit around all day, and not work. And I wish I could just write music, crank out albums, but it takes time, and we all have bills to pay, and whatnot. But it's just a cool thing, and I really appreciate you having me on your show and everything that you've done for me. And I've been getting a lot of radio play through a lot of the outlets that you've submitted the music to, and quite a few interviews.
Hell yeah,
just did 2 interviews yesterday, written interviews through the email. And those will be coming out. There's one I posted on the Facebook. Yeah, it's just cool to talk about this. And it's just cool. I'm going to be gone working here Monday. I leave to go back to work, so I won't be available as much. But I'll take little breaks though, and keep putting out some stuff. I got some new merch coming out for Killing Machine. I decided to go with the song Killing Machine, which is the next song that's going to get released. I'm making some really cool T-shirts and some shorts too. Some pretty cool shorts. So there's a guy in Indonesia that does my artwork. He actually makes T-shirts too, and he was offering that, and got a pro setup. And I was just like, yeah, let's do a small batch. So I'm able to do short runs here in the U.S. To do a short run of full color T-shirts, it's pretty spendy, and you have to do a minimum of like 100.
Yeah.
So this way I could just do a short run, and if I sell out, I can always get more. And so yeah, those are going to be cool. So if somebody wants to support, have something really cool, probably the best, coolest merch I've ever made would be these pieces of merch coming out, because they got the logo down the sleeve and full color of the artwork and everything. Zipper hoodies, doing zipper hoodies and the long sleeve shirts.
Badass, man. Badass.
Yeah. So yeah, just try to keep going and keep the metal flowing.
Oh yeah. That's all we can do, man. Well, Frank, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us, man. I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
I just want to say thanks for listening and all the support, and it means a lot to me that everybody that's been listening to it, and the good comments. It's really cool, and keep your ears out, because there's going to be more coming. So, and thanks to you, Zach, for having me on your show and everything that you've done, and kudos to you for all you do. I know you do the radio show, and you do the PR work, and you do the festivals. That's a lot you and your wife do, and that's really cool that you guys do all that.
Thanks,
it's
man.
a lot of work. I know it's a lot of work, but that's awesome.
Hell yeah, man. It's a full-time job. Well,
I bet.
Before I let you go, could I get you to make us a station tag real quick?
Oh, sure.
All right, whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Beltfed Weapon, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
This is Beltfed Weapon, and you are listening to Metal Devastation Radio. Crank it up loud.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Right on, Zach. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Hey, man, anytime, man. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast some more Beltfed for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
Right on. Which one's he going to play?
I got Darkened Demise and Headfirst into Hell coming up.
Nice. Right on, Zach. Appreciate all you do, man.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
There you have it, folks. Beltfed Weapon live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's driveway. If you're in the basement, duct tape your speakers to the ceiling. If you're in the attic, point your speakers at the floor. If you're in the back of an Uber car or a taxi cab or a bus, take your earbuds out and crank your fucking cell phone up. Do whatever you gotta do to make everybody around you turn their head and be like, what the fuck is this guy doing, man? Crank it the fuck up. This is Beltfed Weapon.